Welcome to Career Insights. The Career Insights series features local industry professionals engaged in conversation with students and recent graduates about career planning and job opportunities in Polk County, Florida.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again for another Career Insights segment, and today we'll be diving in to talk about the agricultural industry and our ag academies. We have some very wonderful guests, special guests today from the ag industry, Nicole Walker and Bridget Stice, and then we have Abby Crawford is also with us, and then a student, Maddie Keim. So welcome you all. Thank you so much for being here today. I'd like to do a brief introductions for everyone. So if you can state your name and where you work and what you do. Thank you. Nicole, why don't we start with you?
All right, thanks so much, Reba. Very glad to be here. I'm Nicole Walker, and I serve as County Extension Director with University of Florida IFAS Extension in Polk County. And my role is to provide administrative support to the entire Extension office, which is a partnership between University of Florida and Polk County government. So we have a very strong role in agriculture in Polk County in that we have 3 positions that all support the sustainability and viability of our ag industry here in Polk County, especially citrus, beef cattle, and then our array of small farms. And you'll hear more about the beef cattle industry here from my colleague, Bridget.
Okay, so Nicole, thank you. I'm Bridget Stice, also with Nicole's team at the University of Florida IFAS Extension Service in Polk County. And my role is, in a nutshell, to take research-based information and bring it to the producers of Livestock County, mostly beef cattle, but it would be any of the livestock producers. So that could include horses, goats, sheep, poultry, and so on.
Abby?
Hey, so my name is Abby Crawford, and I'm actually a graduate of Haines City's EDA program. I'm proud alum of that. And then I graduated from Warner in 2018. And now I am the coordinator of advancement in ag programming here at Warner. And my job, in a nutshell, is pretty much recruiting students to attend Warner and then matching them with a great mentor in the community, in the ag industry, hoping to get them jobs and careers, and just making that perfect match with our students in our community.
Thank you, Abby. And Madison?
Hi, so my name is Maddie Keim, and I am a student, as Ms. Reba mentioned. I graduated from George Jenkins High School this past summer, and I'm now a student at Warner University, where having lots of fun learning new stuff.
So thank you all for being here once again. I'm excited to dive into our ag discussion. As we know, there are quite a few agricultural academies in Polk County Public Schools. I think we have the most ag academies than anything. And so what we're talking about today is the ag industry, what kind of jobs they can find if they go into the business and into the industry. So Maddie, for you, what made you want to, start in ag in high school and then further your career at Warner? Are you going to be going into the ag field? What do you think you'll do with your degree?
Absolutely. So what interested me in high school, I actually joined FFA in middle school, but I started out in 4-H, and so that was kind of what pushed me towards FFA, because I've been showing market hogs, and so that's really what sparked an interest the first time. And then once I got into it and realized exactly what the organization does, I mean, you learn really good life skills that not only help you, not only allow me to show livestock, but, be able to learn how to interview and just different things that are going to help me in the future.
What do you see as some of the different ag professions out there? Can you kind of give the students and the people that are watching this some insight into, other than maybe having a ranch or having a citrus grove, what are some other fields that they can go into?
Yes, so I'll touch back again on research. So we hear a lot about STEM, of course, and so many of the jobs of the future being in science, technology, engineering, and math. And agriculture research has all of those encompassed in the kinds of things that students can go into later. Again, coming up with new varieties as we deal with changes in our weather. changes in weather patterns, where things can grow. All of our being able to stay on top of these changes and sustain the industry throughout these changes is based on research and being able to come up with things that will allow us to continue. So research is one area, and the business side, there are people who could speak a lot better about that than I, but we think about commodity groups and the business of agriculture and everything from international trade and global issues, being able to deal with all of that. There are a lot of jobs in that area. Organizations from the federal level, USDA is one of the largest pieces of federal government that we have, and the thousands of different kinds of jobs that are available with USDA, from an administration, research, just lots and lots of different areas, higher education, the academic side of agriculture. So there are lots and lots of different things. And I'll let Abby speak a little bit more about the specifics in terms of communications and marketing. That really is huge in the age of social media, and wherever social media goes next, who knows? Ag is going to be there as well.
I have a segment on 97 Country called Ag Time with Abby. It was a project for FFA, and it just kind of blossomed into other opportunities. And that is when I connect with ag teachers across the county, share any upcoming fundraisers, things like that they have. And then I go a little bit more in depth in my monthly article that is in Central Florida Ag News. And I, share stories, alumni spotlights, meet new teachers, anything that I can do to connect our community with the faces that are going to be growing their food in a couple years, just to kind of, almost like a meet and greet virtually. So, just to, again, kind of close that gap and get people to face with them.
So did you have any opportunities in high school and now in college to participate in any internships?
Yes, ma'am, I did. So at George Jenkins High School, I was actually in the Veterinary Academy. And so part of that, the 4 years that you're in that program, your senior year, you end up doing an internship with a local veterinary clinic. And so that's what I did. It was 250 hours of which was a lot, but a lot of hands-on, and I learned a lot. And I did end up becoming a certified veterinary assistant. So yes, ma'am, that was something that's very cool that the program offers.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that you all in the ag business are facing right now or will be facing in the future?
That's a great question. And Nicole kind of touched on it about the value of land, and we're losing land to urban sprawl, we're losing agricultural land. So efficiency is a big issue. How can we produce more on less land, or at least sustain the current production on less land? That's a big thing. And then the other area is public policy, or just public awareness. Understanding that there are a lot of misconceptions out there, and that goes back to that whole ag communications. We really need those folks who are good communicators of agriculture, because like Abby said, a lot of our producers, they're so busy working, producing, that they don't have that, they don't have the time, nor the experience or education or ability at this point to go out there and to promote exactly what it is that they're doing. And they are doing such amazing things. So I think that's probably our two biggest challenges. It's just the loss of agricultural land and efficiency. And then also with that increasing population is also increasing the awareness as people become further and further removed from agriculture. They have less and less understanding. So helping those folks to understand where their food is coming from and how it's getting to them.
I want to go into, and Nicole and Bridget, I don't know if you're in the hiring stages and you're, at UFIFS, but I think overall, when you see students coming out of high school and college, what kind of, skills, soft skills, personality, what are you looking for in an employer, somebody, what things are important to you? It may not just be the technical skills, but what other soft skills are you looking at?
I'll start with teachability. Flexibility. So, the technical piece is important depending on what kind of position we're going into, because we do have some highly scientific positions, if you will, in extension. So we really do need that expertise. But extension specifically, extension people are people. It is all about being able to relate information, relate research to people, but to really care as well. And I can't think of an extension agent that I know, at least not right this moment, which is probably good, that doesn't actually care about the people and have a passion for being able to help and support people. So the teachability piece, I see that coming more as our generations continue to change in the workforce. We all have something to teach one another. The millennials and Gen Z have things to teach Gen X and the baby boomers. So having that back and forth is really important. In a lot of workplaces, we've got that age diversity. So that's a big one as well. And then the flexibility. If COVID has taught us anything, it's, hey, if we can't do business the way we're used to doing business, we've got to change it up and keep moving forward. So those are two big ones, I'd say.
Those are great. That's great. Abby or Bridget?
I'd like to add to it, and I want to commend the academies, especially like Maddie was talking about, what her experience with, doing her internship. Just, I always say the people skills, and Nicole said that. I always say people skills is probably first. It's not so much people skills, but just that ability to relate with one another, to build relationships and all that. But Madison, I'm sure, learned that in her internship, but it's really that work experience. So Maddie might have done that veterinary assistant certification internship, and she may or may not follow that career in that. Either way, she got just as much out of it. The opportunity to be in a work environment and to, especially in at least a field related to something that she thinks that she's going to go into, all of those skills that she developed there will be put to use whenever she does go into whatever her career may be. So those experiences of being in a work environment, I just think are really key. It helps build maturity. And I think when students are graduating, if they don't have that, they just have such a long way to go in order to become comfortable in whatever field they end up in. And I think that's so important for them to be able to identify whether or not they're going to be comfortable in whatever field they may choose or whatever career they may choose. So I think that's a really great opportunity that these students are getting. And then I'll go back to Nicole on the whole people skills thing. It's just a matter of being able to, help people.
So Maddie, with everything you've just heard them talk about, is there one lesson that you've learned about, having those soft skills, people skills, that you think is the most important?
Absolutely. So like I said, I was an FFA and I learned a lot about how to interview, properly and more efficiently in using those soft skills that I've, had to accumulate over the past few years. And I think something that's really important to me is, like Abby was talking about, just being able to talk to people. I know, in high school, you have friends that, like she was saying, they don't really know how to talk to people, how to carry on a conversation. And I thought that was something that's extremely important because in our world today, you have to be able to talk to people, you have to be able to get yourself out there. And I think that was something that was always really important to me, especially with the different experiences that I had.
How did you get your start in your career? How did you find UF IFAS? What brought you to this career, and what can you, enlighten students on how they, can get a job with IFAS or with other ag industries?
That's a really good question, and I think it's kind of been mentioned here. You do not have to have grown up in the agriculture industry. I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. There is a lot of agriculture in Palm Beach County, but downtown, I literally grew up downtown West Palm Beach, Florida. And so I did not grow up in agriculture. My parents are not in agriculture. My grandparents had been in agriculture, but they had been passed away by the time that I had come around. So I didn't even have that influence necessarily. So, but my interest was in horses, like all little girls, and I was extremely passionate about horses. I finally had gotten my first job and was able to buy a horse while I was in high school. And my parents, of course, did have to support it a little bit, but that was my learning experience, work experience, was to have a job so that I could pay for a horse. And that was, the most important thing to me. So when I went off to school, my parents, again, nothing about agriculture. I thought, well, I want to have a career in horses. And I had no idea what that meant, other than either I could, be a horse, like a horse trainer, breeder, or be a veterinarian. So I thought I wanted to be a veterinarian because I thought those were the only careers. I literally have come from, no agriculture background, but that's what I thought that I wanted to do. So I went off to school and I majored in animal science because that would be a typical major to go into veterinary school. And thankfully, colleges like Warner, University of Florida, and lots of other colleges, they have things like seminars that will teach you about different career opportunities that are out there. And I had no idea of all of the things. And I know that I'm not suited for veterinary medicine. I have a hard time giving shots. I have no problem getting shots, or anything like that. So that was not going to work for me to be in a career of veterinary medicine, but I'm still very passionate about it. And I had the opportunity to learn about all these different industries, or not industry so much the industry, but all of the different avenues within the industry. And learned about the beef cattle industry, was extremely interested in that. I am fascinated by this industry. And I learned that I can support that industry, and that is what our industry needs. There are only so many people that are actually in the process of raising that livestock or whatever it may be, but they need a lot of support around them for that. And so whether it's through extension, whether it's through sales representatives or other support services, those are out there. So I found my way into the extension service as a way to support that industry that I found so fascinating. I still love horses, but the beef cattle industry is much more, I'm more passionate about that now at this point. So that's how I got where I am.
But I want to thank all of you today for being with us. You've been very insightful, given us some great things to think about and some, ideas for students that maybe they didn't think about. Going into ag, you can go work at UF-IFAS and get some great jobs in many different areas. Go to a college and teach, go to a high school and teach. So I think there's some great opportunities out there. And Maddie, for sure, I want to wish you luck at Warner in your next 3.5 years. And I hope that we see you teaching in a classroom in Polk County one day. And Abby, thank you so much for being here. And Bridget and Nicole, thank you for the work that you're doing at UF-IFAS. Keep up the good work. And all of you have a wonderful day, and thank you for being with us.